The sisters' laughter. The three sisters sat in the grand crystal hall of Talenus Prime, their laughter ringing like chimes in the still air. Zira, the eldest, leaned back in her throne, her silver hair shimmering under the alien sun. Beside her, Mela and Irith, younger but no less imposing, chuckled as they watched the holographic screen before them. On the screen, humans scrambled about in their bustling cities, cars honked in endless traffic, and politicians bickered over trivial matters. A clip showed humans fighting over rolls of toilet paper in a store, an event they called a pandemic panic. How pathetic, Mela scoffed, brushing a strand of violet hair from her face. These creatures call themselves intelligent. Irith giggled, her bright green eyes sparkling with mischief. I've seen star beasts with more coordination than them. Even Zura, usually the more composed of the three, allowed a smirk to curve her lips. She leaned forward, her golden eyes narrowing at the screen. And yet, she said, her voice calm but laced with disdain, these primitive beings continue to survive. Against all odds, they cling to life like weeds. Mela rolled her eyes. Survive. That's not intelligence, Zyra. That's blind luck. Irith added, they couldn't last a day on Talenus Prime. One sandstorm would wipe them out. The sisters laughed again, their voices echoing through the hall. To them, humanity was a joke, a species barely worth noticing in the grand tapestry of the galaxy. But their laughter was cut short by the sudden arrival of a royal messenger. The hall's grand doors creaked open, and a figure in shimmering silver armor strode in. His face was stern, his movements precise. He bowed deeply before the sisters, his voice unwavering. Princesses, the king commands your presence in the throne room. Immediately. Zira frowned. Now, we are in the middle of entertainment. The messenger did not flinch. His Majesty says it is urgent. Mela groaned, slouching in her seat. Can't it wait? We were just getting to the part where they invented something ridiculous again. Perhaps another selfie stick. Irith teased, earning another round of giggles. But the messenger's grave expression silenced them. Zara stood, her posture regal and commanding. Very well. Let's not keep father waiting. The sisters followed the messenger through the palace's labyrinthine corridors. The walls were made of luminous crystals that pulsed softly with life, casting a serene glow. Yet the air felt heavier than usual, the atmosphere tense. When they entered the throne room, they found King Varian seated on his obsidian throne. His face, usually calm and composed, was lined with worry. His crown, a delicate structure of glowing vines, seemed dimmer than usual. My daughters, he began, his voice deep and resonant, we face a crisis. Zira stepped forward. Father, what could trouble you so deeply? Our empire spans galaxies. We are unmatched. Varian sighed, his gaze distant. Our star is dying. The words hung in the air like a dark cloud. The sisters exchanged uneasy glances. What do you mean, dying? Mila asked, her usual bravado faltering. The core of our sun is collapsing, Varian explained. Our scientists have confirmed it. We have less than a year before Talenus Prime becomes uninhabitable. Irith's face paled. But surely we can stabilize it. We have the technology. The king shook his head. Not this time. Our only hope lies in a rare energy source, one that can reignite the core. Zira tilted her head. What kind of energy? Varian's gaze hardened. It exists on Earth. The sisters froze. Earth? Mela repeated, incredulous. You mean that primitive rock with the squabbling creatures? You can't be serious. Varian's voice rose, a rare display of anger. Do you think I would jest about our survival? Earth holds the key. Without this energy, we are doomed. Aerith frowned. And you want us to retrieve it? Yes, Varian said firmly. You three are the most capable. You will travel to Earth, locate the energy source, and bring it back. Mela crossed her arms. With all due respect, Father, this is ridiculous. Surely there are better options. There are none. Varian snapped, his voice echoing through the chamber. You will go. That is an order. The sisters exchanged uneasy glances. For the first time, the weight of responsibility pressed down on them. Zara stepped forward, her jaw set. Very well, father. We will do as you command. The king nodded, his expression softening slightly. Good. Remember, daughters, this mission is not just about our survival. It is about the survival of countless lives across the galaxy. As the sisters left the throne room, their earlier mirth was gone, replaced by unease. Mila broke the silence. Earth, of all places. Aerith smirked, though it lacked her usual spark. Well, at least it will be entertaining. Zira didn't respond. Her mind was already racing, calculating the challenges ahead. She glanced at the stars through a nearby window, her golden eyes narrowing. Entertaining or not, she murmured, this mission will change everything. Unbeknownst to them, the first step toward their destiny, and humanity's, had already begun. The impossible mission. The sleek silver vessel sliced through the dark void of space, its engines humming with quiet precision. Zira sat in the command chair, her golden eyes fixed on the blue-green planet growing larger in the viewport. Her sisters, Mela and Irith, were seated behind her, their usual banter muted by the weight of their task. For once, the laughter was gone. This is absurd, Mela muttered, staring at her reflection in the polished walls. All the technology, all the power at our disposal, and we're reduced to scavengers on a primitive world. Aerith rolled her eyes. Oh, come on, Mila. You have to admit, it's a little exciting. Earth, the infamous birthplace of chaos and stupidity. Chaos and stupidity we now depend on. Zyra cut in, her voice sharp. Focus, this isn't a sightseeing trip. The silence that followed was heavy, broken only by the faint hum of the ship. Ahead, Earth spun serenely, oblivious to the drama unfolding beyond its atmosphere. To the sisters, it was a paradox, a world teetering on the edge of brilliance and self-destruction. The ship's AI chimed in, its voice smooth and neutral. Entering Earth's orbit, stealth systems engaged. Zira leaned forward, her fingers dancing across the console. Initiate scans. Locate the energy source. The screen lit up with streams of data, the ship's sensors calming the planet for the mysterious power they sought. As the results processed, Mela leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. I still don't understand how these humans managed to create something our scientists couldn't, she said, her tone laced with disbelief. It doesn't add up. It doesn't have to. Aerith replied with a smirk. We're here to take it, not understand it. Quiet, Zyra snapped. We have a reading. The screen displayed a pulsating signal emanating from a remote part of the planet, far from any major cities. It was an unassuming location, surrounded by dense forests and rugged mountains. Coordinates locked. The AI announced, initiating descent. As the ship began its silent journey toward the surface, the sisters braced themselves. None of them voiced it, but the unease was palpable. This mission was unlike anything they had undertaken before. Earth was unpredictable, its people defying logic and expectation at every turn. The ship touched down in a clearing, its landing so precise and silent that not even the surrounding wildlife stirred. The sisters disembarked, their sleek armor gleaming under the dim light filtering through the trees. Zyra's gaze swept the area, her hand resting on the hilt of her energy blade. This is the location, she said, consulting the holographic map projected from her wrist. The energy source should be nearby. They moved cautiously, the dense foliage pressing in around them. The forest was alive with unfamiliar sounds, the rustle of leaves, the chirp of insects, the distant call of birds. To the sisters, it felt both alien and primitive, a reminder of how far removed their civilization was from this untamed world. Suddenly, Aerith stopped, holding up a hand. Do you hear that? The sisters froze, listening. At first, there was only the natural ambience of the forest. Then, faintly, came the sound of machinery, a rhythmic hum that seemed out of place in the wilderness. "This way," Zyra said, her voice low. They followed the sound, their steps silent and deliberate. As they approached a clearing, the source of the noise became clear. Nestled in the heart of the forest was a hidden facility, its metal walls gleaming dully under the sunlight. The design was crude compared to Talonist technology, but it was functional and purposeful. "How did we not detect this from orbit?" Mela whispered, her brow furrowed. "It's shielded," Zyra replied. "Primitive, but effective." Before they could decide their next move, the doors of the facility slid open with a soft hiss. The sisters tensed, their weapons at the ready. A figure stepped out, unarmed and unassuming. A human male in a lab coat, his glasses perched crookedly on his nose. He looked at them with neither fear nor surprise, as though he had been expecting their arrival. "Welcome," he said, his voice calm. "You're late." The sisters exchanged bewildered glances. Mila, always quick to speak her mind, stepped forward, her energy blade humming to life. "Who are you, and how do you know who we are?" The man raised his hands in a gesture of peace. "My name is Dr. Adrian Locke, and I know because I've been waiting for you." "Impossible," Zyra said, narrowing her eyes. "Your species barely knows we exist." Dr. Locke smiled faintly. "Oh, we know a lot more than you think. But this isn't the place for explanations. Come inside. You'll want to see what I've been working on." Mila scoffed. "And why should we trust you?" "You don't have to," Adrian said, turning back toward the facility. "But if you want the energy source, you'll follow me." Zyra hesitated, her instincts screaming caution, but the urgency of their mission outweighed the risk. She nodded to her sisters, and they followed the strange human into the facility, weapons still at the ready. As the doors closed behind them, sealing them inside, a chill ran down Zyra's spine. Something about this place, about this man, felt off. This, she thought grimly, is going to be far more complicated than we expected. The unexpected encounter. The facility was a labyrinth of narrow corridors, dimly lit by flickering overhead lights. The sisters followed Dr. Adrian Locke, their steps echoing faintly on the metallic floor. The human moved with surprising confidence, as though leading alien visitors was as ordinary as a morning routine. Mela's patience was wearing thin. "Are all humans this arrogant?" she muttered, her fingers twitching near the hilt of her energy blade. Irith smirked. "If they are, it's a wonder they haven't blown themselves up already." "Quiet," Zyra ordered, her sharp voice cutting through their whispers. Her golden eyes were fixed on Adrian's back, scanning his every movement. "This human is too calm. Stay alert." Adrian finally stopped in front of a large reinforced door. With a casual swipe of his ID badge, the locks hissed open. He stepped inside and gestured for them to follow. "Welcome," he said with a small smile, "to humanity's best-kept secret." The room was vast and circular, its walls lined with screens displaying streams of data and rotating holograms. In the center, a massive, pulsating orb of energy hovered in a containment field. Its light bathed the room in an eerie glow, shifting through colors that defied description. The sisters froze. This was it, the energy source they had been sent to find. "What is that?" Aerith asked, her voice barely a whisper. Adrian turned to face them, his expression both proud and weary. "We call it the core. It's a unique form of sentient energy we discovered deep beneath the Earth's crust. It's alive, intelligent, and incredibly powerful." Mila raised an eyebrow. "Sentient? Are you saying this thing can think?" Adrian nodded. "Think, feel, even communicate, but it's not like anything we've ever encountered. It's different." Zyra's gaze remained locked on the core. Its light seemed to pulse in time with her heartbeat, drawing her in. "And you've kept this hidden?" "For good reason," Adrian said. "If the world knew about the core, it would spark a race for control. Wars, destruction. It's what we humans do best, isn't it? Aerith snorted. At least he admits it. Adrian ignored the jab. I've been working with the core for years, trying to understand it. But now, it's in danger. And so is your mission. Mella's eyes narrowed. What are you talking about? We're here to take it. End of story. It's not that simple, Adrian said, his tone somber. He gestured toward the core. The core is bonded to Earth. If you remove it, the planet will destabilize. Earth will die. The room fell silent, the weight of his words pressing down on them. Zira broke the silence. We don't have a choice. Without the core, Talenus Prime will die. Adrian's expression hardened. And you're willing to kill an entire planet to save your own. Billions of lives wiped out. Mela stepped forward, her energy blades sparking to life. Don't lecture us, human. We didn't come here for moral debates. Wait, Aerith said, holding up a hand. She tilted her head, her sharp senses picking up on something. Do you hear that? A faint hum filled the room, growing louder with each passing second. The sisters turned to Adrian, who suddenly looked alarmed. No, he muttered, rushing to a nearby console. His fingers flew over the controls, his expression darkening as the screens filled with warnings. What's happening? Zyra demanded. Adrian didn't look up. They found us. Who? Before he could answer, the facility shook violently. The lights flickered, and the hum turned into a deafening roar. The sisters drew their weapons, their eyes scanning the room for threats. Adrian turned to them, his voice urgent. A rival alien faction. Crethans. They've been tracking the core for years. If they take it, Earth won't just die. It'll burn. The doors to the room burst open, and a squad of heavily armed Crethan soldiers stormed in. Their armor was jagged and dark, their weapons crackling with destructive energy. Zira stepped forward, her voice cold and commanding. Aerith, Mela, defensive positions. Protect the core at all costs. Adrian ducked behind a console as chaos erupted. The sisters moved like a well-oiled machine, their energy blades slicing through the air with deadly precision. Crethan weapons fired, filling the room with flashes of light and the sharp scent of burning metal. In the midst of the battle, the core pulsed violently, its light growing brighter and more erratic. Adrian shouted over the noise. The core is reacting to the conflict. If this continues, it could overload. Zira parried a blow from a Crethan soldier, her jaw clenched. Then stopped talking and help. Adrian hesitated, then nodded. He pulled up a command interface on the console, his fingers flying over the controls. I can boost the containment field, but I'll need time. Time we don't have. Mela yelled, hurling a plasma grenade into the fray. Aerith leaped onto a console, her movements graceful as she rained down precise strikes on the Crethans. Then we'd better make some time. The sisters fought with everything they had, their movements a blur of light and power. The Crethans were relentless, their numbers seemingly endless. But as the battle raged, Zyra felt something shift. The core's light pulsed again, but this time, it wasn't chaotic. It was deliberate, rhythmic, almost as if it were speaking. Zyra, a voice echoed in her mind, soft but powerful. Save me, and I will save you. She faltered for a split second, enough for a Crethan soldier to strike. Pain seared through her side, but she gritted her teeth and retaliated, cutting him down. Zyra, Mela shouted. What are you doing? I'd heard something, Zyra said, her voice shaky. Adrian looked up, his eyes wide. It spoke to you, didn't it? Before Zyra could respond, the core pulsed one last time, flooding the room with blinding light. Everything stopped. The fighting, the shouting, the chaos. And then, as the light faded, a new voice filled the air. I am the core, it said, its tone both ancient and commanding. And we are out of time. The hidden cost. The silence was suffocating. The sisters stood frozen in the aftermath of the Corps' declaration, their weapons still in hand, their breaths shallow. The once erratic pulses of the Corps had steadied into a slow, rhythmic glow, bathing the room in a surreal light. "I am the Corps," the voice repeated, reverberating through the facility like a low hum of energy. "I have been waiting for you." Zira stepped forward, her golden eyes narrowing. "Waiting for us? You knew we were coming." The Corps' light pulsed, almost as if nodding. "I know many things, child of Telenus. I know why you are here. I know your world is dying. And I know the price you are willing to pay to save it." Mila scoffed, lowering her energy blade but keeping her stance defensive. "You're a ball of light. How could you possibly know anything about us?" The Corps' glow intensified, its voice now tinged with what could almost be described as amusement. "I am not just energy. I am the memory of stars, the echo of creation. I have seen civilizations rise and fall, and I have witnessed the folly of greed." Aerith crossed her arms, her green eyes skeptical. "If you're so wise, then you must understand. We don't have a choice. We need you to save our planet." The Corps dimmed, as if contemplating their words. "And what of this planet? Will you condemn Earth to destruction to save your own?" Zara's voice was firm. "If we don't take you, billions will die on Telenus Prime. We can't let that happen." Adrian, who had remained silent until now, stepped forward, his face pale but determined. "Wait. There's something you don't understand." The sisters turned to him, their expressions a mixture of annoyance and curiosity. "What now, human?" Mela snapped. Adrian gestured toward the Corps. "It's not just a power source. It's alive, sentient. Removing it isn't just a physical act. It's a bond. The Corps isn't attached to Earth. It's part of it. If you take it, the planet's ecosystems, its very foundation, will collapse." Aerith frowned. "You're saying Earth will die?" "Yes," Adrian said. "But it's worse than that. The Corps has connections, intergalactic ones. If it's taken by force, the resulting energy backlash could destroy more than just Earth. It could destabilize nearby star systems, your planet included." The room fell silent again, the weight of Adrian's words pressing down on everyone. "We didn't come all this way for a lecture," Mela said, her voice laced with defiance. "If we don't act, our people are dead. Do you expect us to just walk away?" The Corps' light flickered, its voice calm but unyielding. "There is another way." Zira's eyes narrowed. "What way?" The Corps pulsed brighter, as if gathering strength. "I am bound to Earth, but my energy can be shared. A fragment of my essence can be transferred to stabilize your dying star." Adrian's head snapped up. "You never mentioned that before." "Because it requires a willing sacrifice," the Corps said. "A life must be given to complete the bond. Without it, the transfer cannot succeed." The sisters exchanged uneasy glances. Sacrifice. This was not part of their mission. "Whose life?" Aerith asked cautiously. "The one who carries my fragment," the Corps replied. "They must remain connected to me, bound by the transfer. Their existence will sustain the energy link, but they will never leave Earth." Mela's eyes flashed with anger. "You expect one of us to stay here, on this rock?" Zira held up a hand, silencing her sister. Her gaze was fixed on the Corps, her mind racing. A sacrifice to save Telenus Prime. It was unthinkable. And yet, without it, their mission was doomed. "This is insane," Aerith muttered, pacing. "There has to be another way." "There isn't," Adrian said, his voice firm. "The Corps doesn't lie. If it says a sacrifice is needed, then that's the truth." Mila glared at him. "Easy for you to say. It's not your life on the line." Adrian didn't flinch. "No, but it's my planet, and I won't let it die." Zira took a deep breath, her hand tightening on the hilt of her energy blade. If what the Corps says is true, then this mission has become more than just a rescue operation. It's a choice between two worlds, ours or theirs. The core pulsed again, its voice soft but resolute. The choice is yours, but choose wisely. The fate of both worlds depends on it. For the first time in their lives, the sisters felt truly uncertain. The weight of their mission had grown heavier, the lines between right and wrong blurred. And as the core's light continued to pulse, Zyra couldn't shake the feeling that their journey had only just begun. The rival force. The silence was shattered by a low guttural hum. Zyra's head snapped toward the entrance of the facility, her golden eyes narrowing. Mila and Aerith instinctively took defensive positions, their energy blades flaring to life. Adrian froze, his face draining of color. "They found us," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "Who?" Mela demanded, her weapon poised. "The Crethans," Adrian replied, his hands moving swiftly over the control console. "They've been hunting the core for decades. They'll destroy everything to claim it." As if on cue, a deafening explosion rocked the facility. The walls trembled, lights flickered, and dust rained down from the ceiling. Alarms blared, their shrill wails echoing through the corridors. "They're breaching the outer defenses," Adrian shouted. Zyra's jaw tightened as she turned to her sisters. "Aerith, secure the core. Mela, cover the scientist. I'll hold the entrance." Aerith darted toward the core, her green eyes scanning its pulsating form for any sign of instability. "It's reacting to the disturbance," she called out. "If this keeps up, the containment field will collapse. Then stabilize it." Zyra snapped, already sprinting toward the main entrance. The reinforced doors groaned under the force of another explosion. Zyra reached the control panel and activated the facility's remaining defenses. Energy turrets descended from the ceiling, humming as they powered up. Mela dragged Adrian behind a console, her blade ready. "I hope your best-kept secret includes a way to keep us alive, human." Adrian gritted his teeth. "I'm working on it." The doors burst open with a deafening crash, revealing the invaders. The Crethans were monstrous, taller than the sisters, with jagged armor that shimmered like oil under the dim lights. Their eyes glowed an unnatural red, and their weapons crackled with volatile energy. The first wave charged in, their guttural war cries echoing through the facility. Zyra didn't hesitate. She surged forward, her energy blade slicing through the air in a blur of light. The first Crethan fell, its armor sparking as it crumpled to the floor. "Stay behind me," she yelled, her movements precise and lethal. Mela joined her, her blade spinning as she intercepted a flanking Crethan. "You're not hogging all the glory, sister." The Crethans pressed forward, their sheer numbers overwhelming the facility's defenses. The energy turrets fired relentlessly, but for every invader they struck down, 2 more took its place. Adrian worked furiously at the console, his fingers flying across the controls. "I can reroute power to the containment field, but it'll leave the rest of the facility exposed." "Do it," Zyra commanded, parrying a blow from a Crethan axe. "We can't lose the core." As the lights dimmed, the core's glow intensified, bathing the room in an otherworldly radiance. Aerith stood before it, her hands hovering over its control interface. "It's trying to communicate," she shouted, her voice strained. "But it's confused. It doesn't understand the violence." Mila dispatched another Crethan, her movements fueled by adrenaline. "Tell it this is how humans, and apparently Crethans, solve their problems." A sudden surge of energy rippled through the room, knocking everyone off balance. The core's voice echoed in their minds, clear and commanding. "Enough." The Crethans faltered, their advance slowing. Even Zyra and her sisters paused, their weapons still raised. The core's glow intensified, its light piercing through the chaos. "I will not be claimed. I will not be destroyed. I will decide." The Crethans roared in defiance, surging forward once more. Zyra clenched her jaw. "So much for divine intervention." Adrian shouted, "The core can't hold them off alone." We have to push them back. The sisters fought with renewed ferocity, their movements a blur of precision and power. Zyra's blade sliced through the Crethan's ranks, while Mela's grenades detonated with blinding flashes of light. Irith stood firm near the core, her mind racing. It's reaching out to me. It wants guidance. It's asking what it should do. Tell it to protect itself, Zyra yelled, driving her blade into the chest of a Crethan soldier. Irith hesitated, her eyes locked on the core. What if that means destroying everything here, including us? Zyra didn't falter. Then we fight until we have no choice left. As if in response to her determination, the core pulsed one last time, its light engulfing the room. The Crethans screamed, their weapons shattering as the energy overwhelmed them. One by one, they fell, their bodies collapsing under the weight of the core's power. When the light dimmed, the room was eerily silent. The Crethans were gone, their presence erased by the core's intervention. Adrian staggered to his feet, his face pale but relieved. It spared us. Zyra lowered her blade, her breathing heavy. For now. But this isn't over. Irith approached the core, her voice soft. It's waiting. It still needs a choice. The sisters exchanged a glance, the weight of their mission settling over them once more. They had survived the Crethans, but the hardest decision was yet to come. And the core wasn't going to wait forever. Humanity's true strength. The facility was a ruin. Smoke hung in the air, mingling with the acrid smell of scorched metal. Sparks flew from shattered consoles, and cracks snaked across the walls. Yet at the center of it all, the core still hovered, pulsing with a steady, otherworldly rhythm. Zyra stood with her energy blade drawn, her armor dented and scorched from the battle. Mela and Irith flanked her, their expressions grim. Adrian, bruised and bloody, leaned against a console, his lab coat torn and streaked with soot. That was too close, Mela muttered, wiping sweat from her brow. Adrian let out a bitter laugh. Welcome to Earth. Nothing here is easy. Zyra ignored them, her sharp golden eyes fixed on the core. Its light had dimmed, its energy depleted from defending itself against the Crethans. But now, its voice whispered in her mind again, urgent and pleading. Act quickly. Another storm approaches. Zyra turned to Adrian. How long until they return? He shook his head. The Crethans won't give up that easily. They'll regroup and come back with reinforcements. An hour, maybe less. Mela groaned. Great, because fighting a small army once wasn't enough. Irith approached the core, her green eyes narrowed. It's not just the Crethans. The core is unraveling. It doesn't have the strength to hold itself together much longer. Zyra clenched her fists. We need a solution now. Can we stabilize it? Adrian hesitated, his gaze darting to the flickering screens. Maybe. But it'll take more power than this facility has left. And even if we stabilize it, we still have the same problem. Removing it will destroy Earth. For a moment, the only sound was the faint hum of the core. Then we don't remove it, a voice said quietly. Everyone turned to look at Irith. What did you say? Mela asked, frowning. We don't remove it, Irith repeated, stepping closer to the core. We can't. If we do, we kill this planet. We kill them. Mela threw up her hands. And what about Talenis Prime? We let our people die instead. There has to be another way, Irith insisted, her voice rising. This thing is alive. It's powerful. Maybe it can stabilize both planets. Adrian shook his head. It's not that simple. The core's bond to Earth is deep. If we try to split its energy, it could fail completely. Zyra's jaw tightened. But if we do nothing, everyone loses. Adrian hesitated, then looked at the sisters. There is one possibility. But it's dangerous. Mela groaned. Of course it is. Adrian tapped a flickering screen, bringing up a holographic diagram. If we can enhance the core's containment field using a shared neural interface, one that connects it to both Earth and Talanus Prime, it might stabilize itself across both worlds. Neural interface? Aerith asked. You mean, link its mind with ours? Adrian nodded. Exactly. It would share its consciousness with you, and you'd guide it. But there's a catch. If the connection fails, the core could collapse entirely. And you with it. The room fell silent. Zira stepped forward. I'll do it. No, Mela said, her voice firm. If anyone's doing this, it's me. Aerith shook her head. We'll do it together, all three of us. That way, the core doesn't rely on just one mind. We've always been stronger as a unit. Adrian hesitated, then nodded. That might work, but you'll need to focus. The core's mind is vast, more than anything you've encountered. If you lose control, we won't, Zyra said, her tone final. Adrian quickly adjusted the controls, his hands shaking. The interface is ready. Just step onto the platform beneath the core. The sisters moved as one, their steps purposeful despite the weight of what they were about to do. They stood together beneath the core, its light washing over them. Adrian looked at them, his voice quiet. Good luck. And, thank you. Zira glanced back at him. Save the gratitude for when this works. As the platform activated, the core's light intensified, engulfing the sisters in a brilliant glow. The world around them vanished. They stood in a vast, infinite expanse of light and color. The core's voice filled their minds, no longer a whisper but a chorus, both overwhelming and harmonious. You seek balance, you seek salvation, but do you understand the cost? Zira stepped forward, her voice steady. We understand, but we refuse to let either world die. The core's presence loomed, testing, probing. It showed them images of Earth, of Talanus Prime, of the countless lives at stake. It showed them the pain of failure and the hope of success. Mela clenched her fists. We're not afraid of the cost. Just tell us what we need to do. Open your minds, the core said. Share your strength. Together, we will find the balance. The sisters closed their eyes, their thoughts merging with the core's. They felt its pain, its fear, its endless desire to protect. They also felt something else, a glimmer of trust. And then the core pulsed, sending a wave of energy rippling through them. Back in the facility, Adrian watched in awe as the core's light expanded, enveloping the sisters. The ground trembled. But this time, it wasn't destruction, it was creation. The core began to stabilize, its energy splitting into two distinct streams, one flowing toward Talanus Prime, the other anchoring it to Earth. Adrian's breath caught. It's working. But in the center of the glow, the sisters stood motionless, their connection to the core deep and unbroken. And then, just as suddenly as it began, the light dimmed. The trembling stopped. The sisters collapsed to the ground, exhausted but alive. Zira looked up at Adrian, a faint smile on her lips. Told you, we wouldn't lose control. The core pulsed gently, its energy calm and balanced. For the first time in ages, hope filled the room. But they all knew one thing for certain. The fight wasn't over yet. The final choice. The room was still, the hum of the core now a gentle rhythm that matched the steady breathing of the sisters. Zyra, Mela, and Aerith lay sprawled on the floor beneath the glowing orb, their bodies exhausted but their minds sharp. The core had stabilized, its energy now flowing in two distinct streams, one tethered to Earth, the other stretching across the void to reignite the dying star of Talanus Prime. Adrian knelt beside them, his face a mixture of relief and concern. You did it, he said softly. The core is stable. Both worlds have a chance now. Zira struggled to sit up, her muscles aching as though she had fought 1,000 battles. A chance isn't enough, she muttered. The Crethans won't stop. They'll come back, And next time, they'll bring an army. Aerith leaned back against a shattered console, her eyes half closed. Let them come. I could use the exercise. Mela smirked despite herself. You're welcome to take the first wave, Aerith. I'll supervise. Adrian stood, his face grim. You don't understand. The core's energy is like a beacon now. Not just to the Crethans, but to anyone with the technology to detect it. This isn't over. It's only just begun. The sisters exchanged weary glances. They had won this battle, but Adrian was right. The war was far from over. The core pulsed again, its light soft and steady. Its voice filled the room, resonating in their minds like a calm ocean wave. 2 worlds saved. But unity demands a guardian. A choice must be made. Zira frowned. What kind of choice? The core's light shifted, focusing on the sisters. I cannot remain unprotected. My presence will draw conflict, destruction. One of you must stay to guide and defend me. The words hung in the air, heavy and final. Mela's smirk vanished. Stay. As in, stay on Earth. Yes, the core replied. The bond is forged. Only one who has shared my consciousness can serve as my protector. The others must return to Talanus Prime to ensure its survival. Aerith's expression darkened. You're asking one of us to give up everything. Our home, our people. I ask nothing, the core said. This is your choice. But without a guardian, both worlds will fall. Adrian stepped forward, his voice careful. It's not just about protection. Whoever stays will be the bridge between Earth and Talanus Prime. They'll be responsible for keeping the peace. Zira closed her eyes, her mind racing. She thought of their mission, of their people waiting for salvation, and of the humans who had fought so hard to protect their fragile world. The weight of the decision pressed down on her like a crushing tide. I'll do it, Aerith said suddenly, breaking the silence. Mela turned to her, shocked. Aerith, no, you don't have to. Yes, I do, Aerith said firmly. Her green eyes glistened with unshed tears, but her voice was steady. You both know I'm the best choice. I've always been the one who connects with people. And the core, it understands me. I can feel it. Zira stepped forward, placing a hand on Aerith's shoulder. Are you sure? Aerith nodded, her lips curving into a faint smile. It's not goodbye, Zira. It's just a new path. Mela turned away, her jaw clenched. You always have to play the hero, don't you? I learned from the best, Aerith teased, her voice light but tinged with emotion. The core pulsed again, its light enveloping Aerith in a gentle embrace. The choice is made. The path is set. You will be my guardian, my bridge. Adrian stepped forward, offering Aerith a small device. This is a communication link. It's primitive by your standards, but it'll keep you connected to Talanus Prime. And to them. Aerith took the device, her fingers brushing against Adrian's. Thanks, human, for everything. Adrian smiled faintly. You're not so bad for an alien. The sisters gathered for one last embrace, their bond unspoken but unbreakable. Don't screw this up, Mela said, her voice cracking. Aerith laughed softly. I wouldn't dare. As the core's light brightened, Zira and Mela stepped back, their silhouettes fading into the glow. The core spoke one last time. Balance is achieved. The future begins now. When the light faded, Aerith stood alone beside the core, its gentle hum filling the silence. She looked out at the ruined facility, at the world she had chosen to protect. And she smiled. This is just the beginning, she said softly. Above her, the stars glittered, their light carrying the promise of a new chapter. For Earth, for Talanus Prime, and for a bond that would transcend the stars.